All right, so after reading the chapter 8 for this week and reviewing all of the required videos, counseling and the sessions that were depicted within those videos were not really surprising to me. I do interact with licensed mental health counselors here in the state of Florida every day. So kind of having spent a lot of time around them and seeing how they handle things and do things, and then seeing those videos, it was pretty much what I would expect for it to be like, especially after starting these first 2 courses within this program. It was not surprising to me, and it really did align with what I believed would take place within that counseling room. Now, as for the skills that I saw within those counselors, kind of also go along with the similarities, because all 3 videos I think did a really good job at keeping the neutrality, and so not being judgmental and trying to kind of figure out what brought that client to counseling, and not just giving them the answers to the root of their issues or problems, but truly listening to them. Why are they here? What are their thoughts? What are their feelings? What are they struggling with? And, something that was discussed in chapter 8 was listening is like drawing a picture for the client and their issues or problems or whatever it is that is bringing them to counseling. And so every so often you stop and you want to show them. So you want to reiterate to them, okay, so this is what I'm understanding. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I am getting from what you're saying. And ensuring that what you are getting from that client is in fact correct. And you want to continue to do that until you do have the correct image and picture of what brought them into counseling and what they're struggling with. They also, like I said, did a great job not just solving the problem. They weren't just giving them answers. They weren't just solving that issue and sending them on their way. They were understanding what the problem was, such as I believe, the brainstorming video. He showed within that session that he was giving tactics and tools that he can utilize outside of that session to work on the root of his issues that he's struggling with outside of that counseling room. So I really did like seeing that. The homesick video, she did a wonderful job at that attentive silence. And something that kind of brought up to me is, how long is too long for that attentive silence? That's kind of a question that came to my mind when I was doing that. It's something I definitely noticed. She kind of let that silence linger. But how long is too long to let that silence linger? That's one of the big, and, how do you develop that skill of, recognizing how long is too long? So obviously, once we become counselors or, we start our internships and practicum, we'll slowly start to learn that. But, that's one of the big things I kind of wonder, because you don't want it to be too long of an awkward silence. And then the dance video. I really liked how that counselor, he really drew a line and tried to help that client connect the reasoning she went from dance and trying to fulfill her life with counseling, and maybe what she is getting within pursuing the career in counseling over, what she feels like she's missing from that dance career that she held. So there was a lot of similarities, a lot of differences. They really, like I said, the neutrality and not solving the problems and really helping them and listening and trying to understand them was something that really stood out to me with all 3 of them, and just reiterating that question and just what's the root here? What is the root of the issue that we're seeing? So that was something that all of them did wonderful on. And then the last thing, they really showed, so as also discussed in chapter 8 of our textbook, they were wholly focused on that client. So it is hard these days to have someone's full attention on you, and they're not typing on the computer, they're not writing a paper, they're listening to you, they're looking at you, they're listening and absorbing what you're saying. And so all 3 of them to me really showed kind of that focus on that person, which I think is something that's very adds value and gives that client, okay, this person cares about me and what I am feeling and thinking. And that was something that I felt like all 3 of those videos did a really good job at depicting. So again, I really felt like I got a lot of good scenarios and information out of all 3 of them in the textbook reading that we had this week.